Welcome. Welcome to State Department's 11th Tech at State meetup. Wow, do we have an impressive lineup for you today. The gathering of brilliance in this fine facility is sort of overwhelming. It's really exciting. It's exciting to be here. Today you'll be hearing from leading thinkers in the field of predictive analytics and behavioral economics. You'll hear from 3 authors whose respective works range from big data to the importance of randomness to how to bet on sports. These works have been read by millions, and 2 of the 3 have been translated into multiple languages for audiences around the world. What does all this have to do with development and diplomacy? Well, we've invited 2 of our most seasoned ambassadors to help give us a perspective on this. Aside from being surrounded by brilliance, what I love most about Tech at State is the opportunity to step aside from my daily work and imagine a way forward shaped by the latest application of technology. As many in the room know, we in government do not employ cutting-edge tech in our work on a daily basis. Much like the Oakland A's of the early 2000s, we're mostly a group of professionals motivated by a sense of purpose. We're certainly not getting paid Alex Rodriguez's salary, after all. And while we hit a few home runs and steal a few strategic bases along the way, we do best when we recruit and highlight diverse talent and focus on playing small ball. To achieve our ultimate success, we must fully capitalize on our collective talents, strengths, and knowledge. Tech at State provides us with the opportunity to learn how others, often the all-stars, are using technology to transform the way we guide and interact with diplomacy. We hear from practitioners innovate and seek a better way forward. Tech at State programming is designed to push the conversation beyond the status quo. The topics that Tech at State chooses to explore are not owned by any 1 or 2 bureaus within the State Department or USAID or the World Bank. They are topics that cut across the league, and they can be game changers. Tech at State is brought to you by the forward-thinking staff of eDiplomacy, who dared to build a park with a deep outfield. Today, we will be implored to tap into our inner Billy Bean. I know you're all ready for the first pitch, so without further ado, I would like to thank our sponsors and then cover a few logistics for the day and introduce our first speaker. The State Department would like to thank our sponsors. And now everyone, please listen carefully because they paid for your breakfast and for your lunch. And this is a big deal, especially since it's raining today, because we were planning to tell you all about the fine food trucks that frequent the GW University area. So their generosity is greatly appreciated by all of us here today. The GW Law School, Metro Star Systems, and especially their talented staff at Zoomf, Intel, and Fortuit. Thank you very much. Thanks also to our fabulous speakers who have donated their time and energy to preparing presentations and being here today. They also donate their resources in order to come to be here today. So thank you very, very much for coming to speak with us today. Some of you are familiar with our format. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, welcome econ wonks, data crunchers, and baseball fans. There are a couple of things you need to know. The first is Brad Pitt texted me this morning. He couldn't make it today, but he asks that you tweet today if you are so moved to do so by using hashtag #TechAtState. Your tweet will be included in our professionally moderated Twitter fall by the talented team from Zoomf. We are also using Twitter to do interactive polling. So the first poll will ask you to tell us, who you are. Are you part of government? You'll use hashtag #TechAtStateGov. Are you part of civil society? Are you here from the private sector, or do you consider yourself a technologist? So if you are inclined, if you are among the Twitterati, please let us know who you are. And if you're not, introduce yourselves to each other, exchange business cards. We are all here to meet each other today and to have a good time. Speaking of having a good time, Brad Pitt will be following today's events via our live internet feed. So if you know folks stuck at the office today, send them the link or tell them to Google Tech at State Moneyball Diplomacy. It's at livestream.com /Tech at State. And Brad is not the only one watching from afar. A special shout out to our folks in the embassies in Baghdad and Kiev. They are watching today and will be looking for their tweets, looking for their questions online. And now let's welcome our first speaker, Senior Associate Dean of the GW Law School, Chris Bracey. Professor Bracey is an internationally recognized expert in the fields of U.S. race relations, individual rights, and criminal procedure. Professor Bracey received his law degree from Harvard Law School, where he served as a supervising editor on the Harvard Law Review. He was the general editor of the Harvard Civil Rights, Civil Liberties Law Review, and the editor of the Harvard Black Letter Law Journal. He is the author of Saviors or Sellouts, The Promise and Peril of Black Conservatism, from Booker T. Washington to Condoleezza Rice. Please join me in welcoming Professor Bracey to the stage. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Laura. Good morning, everybody. Today it's my great pleasure to welcome you to the George Washington University Foggy Bottom campus for the Tech at State Conference Moneyball Diplomacy. The George Washington University Law School partnership with the State Department's Office of E-Diplomacy has produced some fabulous Tech at State events. And I'm thinking in particular of Elect Tech, which examined technology's effect on elections, and another one that occurred just this past March. It was on internet freedom, which examined the techniques and methods that can be used to enhance and expand internet freedom. GW Law is particularly proud of this partnership with e-diplomacy and the contribution to the world of ideas that Tech at State has made and continues to make throughout the series. We're especially thrilled to be supportive of today's Tech at State event, Moneyball Diplomacy, which explores how economic modeling and analysis of massive data sets can enhance diplomatic and development outcomes undertaken by the State Department and USAID. We have a handful of empiricists and behavioral economists on the GW Law faculty. You'll hear from one of our superstars, Professor Michael Abramowitz, later today. And of course, there are other economists and game theorists scattered about the university in the various units. You need to be an empiricist or an economist or even a game theorist to understand that in this particular day and age, we have unprecedented access to massive amounts of data about individuals and institutions. And one of the supreme challenges of our generation is to develop the techniques and the methodologies for examining and analyzing this data in ways that produce transformative effects in the lives of everyday people. So for this particular reason,